Would you rather own 100% of a little grape or 10 to 30% of a massive watermelon? Welcome to the Nine Doors Down Show, where we discuss anything and everything about commercial real estate and investing. Let's get it.
Nine Doors Down.
John Lopez.
Nine Doors Down.
Hi, this is Tony Rose.
Nine Doors Down.
Hi, this is Anthony Pimentel.
Educating, capital raising, networking.
Nine doors down. Nine doors down.
This is called a show.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Nine Doors Down Show. Anthony, here's another guest that he may or may not know, but he was a part of our early days of creating our fund.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This guy, I mean, he's just been out there. He's been very active. I mean, I'm seeing him in Facebook, everywhere. He's getting himself out there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I've seen his growth in social media. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, even then during Fun Launch Live in Las Vegas, he had a crowd around him. And after Fun Launch Live ends, man, this guy's blowing up all over Facebook, over YouTube, and just creating his own machine. So this gentleman that we have on, he goes by the name of Tim Mai. Tim is a seasoned real estate fund manager and entrepreneur from Houston, Texas. Tim's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. After a childhood marked by war, escaping pirates, and living in a refugee camp, he arrived in Houston at 12 years old without speaking a lick of English. Since then, Tim has successfully acquired and exited in over $50 million worth of real estate transactions and is a partner, GP and LP, in more than 3,800 multifamily units. He is also the founder of Hero Wealth Fund, where he collaborates with passive investors to help them reach their financial aspirations. Beyond real estate, Tim is passionate about education and giving back. He co-founded the Teen Millionaire Challenge and has made significant contributions to various charitable endeavors. For those listening at home, maybe washing the dishes or in the shower, you're on the 15 freeway, stuck in traffic in Las Vegas, or the 405 in Los Angeles, or battling the hurricanes around Houston and Galveston. Let's welcome our good friend, Mr. Tim Mai.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Thanks, Anthony, for having me on the show. It's awesome. Looking forward to this.
It's a big blessing, man. It's I think we've spoken to you more this week than ever. And
Yep.
and we look forward to just learning your story, man. And so for our listeners at home, let's just hit it right away. What was life like for you prior to Hero Wealth Fund?
Yeah. So I'll I know in your intro you mentioned about like going way back to my whole journey. So I'll give you a short version, and then how I got here to the Hero Wealth Fund and the syndication space. Yeah, have you ever heard of the term Vietnamese boat people? I'm one of those. What it means is that it's a group of people that after the Vietnam War ended in 1975, we had to escape out of Vietnam after the communist government took over. You can't just leave. Back then, when a boy turns 18, it's an automatic draft into the communist military. And my older, when I was 12 years old, well, I was 11 at the time when we left Vietnam. I was 11. My older brother was 18. My parents wanted, for him to be able to try to escape out, so he doesn't have to get into the military. So he asked if I wanted to come along because he didn't want to go by himself. I was like, sure, I'll come along because, our whole family had tried to escape out of Vietnam many times before that, but we couldn't make it out. One time, we got caught and the whole family got put in jail. So in my head, as an 11-year-old, I was like, okay, I'll come along. We'll be back home anyways. Long story short, we were able to make it out. We spent 6 days in 6 nights and 7 days just going from Vietnam to Malaysia. Yeah, we got I think on the fourth day we got hijacked by 5 pirate boats. These are Thai fishermen that would, hijack your boat, rape the woman, throw the man off the boat, take whatever valuables they can. That was a very common occurrence that would happen. Luckily for us, they took whatever valuables they could, but then they left us on our way after that. So we got rescued by a Malaysian boat, took us to a Malaysian refugee camp. We spent a year in the refugee camp. And when we got here to Houston, I was 12 years old. My brother was 18, and we applied for Section 8 housing. It's so funny because some of the apartments that we go into now look exactly like the one that we were in back in those days. And yeah, so we grew up in the hood. Yeah, at we let other there was at at the apartment we let other single guys came and lived there as well. So at any given time, there's at least 8 to 12 runaway kids mostly that lived there with us. We did a lot of stupid stuff. We didn't have any parental restriction. Like we could do whatever the heck we wanted to do. So we did a lot of dumb stuff. But luckily, we got out of that environment. I was able to finish high school. During college, I got recruited by an IT company, moved to Dallas, worked there for a couple of years, and then the dot-com came and the dot bus came. So I got laid off, moved back to Houston, started real estate investing in the single family home space in 2002. Okay, and then in 2000, so I've done very well in the single family home and land space. In 2021, I met Javier Hinojo, who's he's okay, you might know him. Yeah, so he does syndications. And we were talking and he said, "Yeah, I used to do fix and flips too, but these days, each deal that I do adds at least $1 million to my net worth." When I heard that, I was like my ear perked up. It's like, man, these flips that I don't make anywhere near that amount. So he was my first light bulb moment of, okay, I want to look more into this, because you know throughout my 20 years in the single family home space, I couldn't see myself doing the multifamily because I used to think it's too big, it's too complicated, it needs more money. I had all of these limiting beliefs around what it takes to do these deals. And so it kept me in the single family home space. And when I met with Javier and he said that, and then I had a son that was turning 17. He has a daughter that was turning 16. So I told him, hey, let's do a project together and we can teach these young, our kids, and we allow other young people to come along. And we teach them about real estate investing and how they can bypass the whole single family home stuff so they don't have to go through what I went through. And so through that Teen Millionaire Challenge program, we took on 19 teenagers ages 16 to 19 years old. It was a year-long program. Through that program, that was from 2021 to 2022. Those kids, they underwritten and sent offers, LOIs, to over $1 billion worth of real estate. Yes, and at the height of the market, obviously, it was very challenging to get those deals. But that was my second light bulb moment that happened for me, because I get to see these, kids, literally kids, talking to brokers, making offers, underwriting deals like it's nothing. They didn't have all the baggage that I had, all the limiting belief that I had. So I was like, man, if these kids can do it, I can do it. So April 2022, a year after I met Javier, I attended the fund launch there, and that's why I met you. And then that was the event that had me decide that, what, I'm gonna go all in on this thing. And so coming into the event, I was like, okay, I'm going to position myself, with all of my years of experience in real estate. I know how to market. I know, I'm very good with marketing. So, okay, I'm gonna, even though I'm new to this industry, I'm gonna position myself as a leader in this industry. By, one of the tricks that I know is whenever you host events, the guy in front of the room is an instant leader. So that's what I did, and that's, I hosted, I think, 2 or 3 meetups while we were there at the event.
I was at one of them.
Yeah, and yeah, that's how this whole journey, and now the Heal Wealth Fund was created from the fund launch program.
Welcome to the course on raising capital for investments. In this course, we'll cover the following topics. 1. Analyzing your investment strategy. Number 2, discovering potential investors. 3, crafting your pitch. 4, securing your investment. 5, our cheat code. We'll round out the program with our very own cheat code for getting in front of investors and being ready to pitch your investment opportunities. Take action today. Visit schoolofninedoorsdown.com and learn to attract capital.
I want to backtrack because everything you talk about is, entrepreneurialism and philanthropy, the American dream. Coming from your eyes and also your parents, and I think this is important. I want some of our crowd to hear this, and maybe this on social media. Here in America, some of us are going in a different direction as far as like the woke mentality, right? If you were still in Vietnam, or if you were living in a country that's dominated by communism, would all the stuff that you have accomplished in the last 20 years, would it have been possible under a communist regime?
I mean, it would be very, very hard for sure. It's a very bribe-based system. Like that's that, so if you have money, you can bribe your way through things. Probably, you can do something, but the opportunities is not anything near like what we have here. And even like Vietnam is going to a lot of changes in the political system right now, where like you can be a billionaire and overnight they take you out if you don't believe, if you're not in alignment with the current leader's political perspective. And so yeah, so like yes, you can rise very fast and you can also fall very fast. So yeah, I mean it's a very different system over there.
Those are some of the things that do concern me here in the US, especially like, the next generation, I feel like pop culture and mass media and even the schooling system is promoting them to have a victim mindset. Whereas your teen millionaire challenge, they're thinking of solutions and have an abundance mindset. And you have kids that are underwriting multifamily properties and pretty much having the courage to do things that people 3 times their age don't even have the courage of doing. And I think that's what freedom really does offer, and why it makes this country very, very special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this, and just the sort of the giving, the generosity that, people have in this country too. And a lot of people, because they grew up with, with lots of blessings, so they're very open to giving back also. And so like all of that adds together. I mean, there's really, we have, no matter how old we are, we have all the resources that we need to succeed in this country, 100%.
I appreciate you sharing your story. So I don't know if you know this, but my wife is Vietnamese. So
oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so the funny thing is because her uncle has actually told me some very similar stories. I mean, he brought 12 of his wife, now his wife's siblings, and they got shot down. Their helicopter was shot down. Some crazy story like that.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy. The stuff we got you guys went through. It kind of sounds, it doesn't sound real, but you went through it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah. And I don't want to go too much, but yeah, some of the stories are crazy stories. Yeah.
it's pretty much what's made you the person you are, right?
I
Now,
definitely, yeah. I definitely appreciate and look at opportunities very differently than most people, for sure.
That's right. Exactly. Now tell me real quick, let's step back a bit. And when you were doing single family, you're doing flips, were you doing wholesaling? And was
Uh,
that in Houston?
yeah, all of the above.
All of the
Yeah,
above. Oh,
flips,
okay.
wholesale, buy and hold, houses, land. Yeah.
And
Yep.
I know you mentioned, I think, was it Javier? He got you into multifamily. Like, take us through that. Like, did you start doing projects together as in like you're walking properties and underwriting multifamily? Because it's a
No, what?
different type of underwriting. So I was wondering how you transitioned.
Yeah. How I met Javier, in the single family home space, you know, I was very successful. So I started coaching people how to flip houses and stuff. And one of the events that I was hosting was with other educators in the industry, and Javier was there. And so, part of that conversation, I asked him, I said, "Hey, if you can do it all over again in the multifamily space, given the different aspects of the business, which part of the business would you do? Would you focus in on?" And he said capital raising would be the part of the business that he would focus on. And so in looking at like my skill set, my strengths, I was like, okay, that makes the most sense for me. I still don't know how to underwrite. Right. And so he said that's what he would do. So I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. That's what I'll do. Uh, and so yeah, so I just focus on building my community, my network, and have my team, like on my team, we have someone that do due diligence, do the underwriting. We have another person on our team that, does all of the fun admin stuff, all of the accounting stuff. And so yeah, I just focus on building relationships.
That's super fascinating. So, Tim, I do want to ask you on your first round of capital raising, what was your avatar? How did you feel about asking capital, and what was your experience?
Yeah, no, that's really good. So because I've been a business owner for so long, I know a lot of business owners. Approaching other business owners, other successful investors that I know was an obvious one for me. So that's what I did. I realized very quickly that my avatar has a huge need for lowering their tax liabilities. And so I had, yeah, so I realized like, oh, there's a difference between in single family homes, we talk about going after motivated sellers which means that they are people that need to sell versus sellers that want to sell. So in approaching my avatar of business owners, I realized that, oh, there's a group of investors that need to invest. It's not an option for them because if they don't invest, they're writing that check to Uncle Sam no matter what. Like they're losing that money no matter what. And so, I understand the distinction between investors that want to invest versus investors that need to invest. And so that had me basically target the investors that need to invest more. So all of my marketing, I have a lead magnet that says how to pay zero tax investing in real estate. And so I'm targeting that avatar very specifically and talking a lot about the different, the tax strategies, tax benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question on that regarding the older generation.
Mhm.
There's business owners, and a lot of these guys like to hoard cash. How do you kind of change their mindset from like, hey, let's invest in this multifamily or this flip or anything, as compared to them just hoarding cash? Everything is cash, cash transactions. Yeah, take me through that.
Yeah, especially the Asian community.
That's why I asked.
Bingo.
It is an education process, and so yeah, it's and you're not gonna win over everybody, that's for sure. You're not gonna win over everybody, but I do educate them and let them know it's like, look, your money, that cash that was sitting there, it used to be able to buy, things at, like let's say buy a pair of shoes, for example. Now takes double that same amount to buy that same pair of shoes, right? And so I explained about inflation to them, said your money's sitting there, it's losing it through inflation. And so here's an opportunity where even even if you're not even if you're conservative, you're not looking to make a lot of money, but at least beat inflation, so that way your money is not you're not losing through just holding it. And so at first I educate them um, on investing, because of like my fix and flips. I teach them to invest into as a private lender, and I tell them like it's secured by real estate, it's very safe. Like worst case scenario, we take the you own the asset, right? Or you can foreclose and own the property. So it's an education process that we take them through, right? And now that in the multifamily space, it's not debt based anymore, and so that's why the tax depreciation is a bigger factor. But yeah, for people who are looking to preserve their wealth more so than trying to grow their wealth, then I recommend the debt play for them more so than the equity play.
Absolutely, Tim. And I see your actions supporting that, because you're constantly educating as a thought leader. And when I first got into the space, I was baffled by all these high net worth individuals, and they had no idea. Like, wait, they thought it was a norm. Like, yeah, I'm gonna pay $15,000 in taxes and whatnot, right? But as part of your educational system, I know you use AI a lot. So
Yeah.
why AI? How did you learn it? And you don't have to spill all your beans to your secret sauce, but what are some tips that you could give other thought leaders to attract more capital their way?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know about AI until OpenAI, ChatGPT, launch, right? And I think it opens all of our eyes to the AI war. There's two things that drew me to it. Number one, I came from an IT background, and so I always loved technology. And then number two, with English being my secondary language, I'm not a very good writer. I can't write to save my life. And so using ChatGPT and having it to write all of our content, whether it's like a short video or our ebook on how to pay zero money in taxes, or our course, like we use AI for all of that. And yeah, and now I've used it so much now. I require that all of my staff use it as on a daily basis for whatever they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. They have to learn to use it, because there's so many ways that AI can help you. So I just mentioned content. Let's say you have a list and you need to clean up that list. AI can help you with that. It can do data analysis. It can do, yeah, like if it can it can help you with underwriting. It can help you with coming up with, like, let's say you're a passive investor and you're not sure on what kind of questions you can ask an operator about the deal. You can ask ChatGPT. It's like, hey, what are all the questions? I'm considering investing into this deal. You can even upload the OM, the offering memorandum, to ChatGPT and says, hey, I'm planning to invest in this deal. What are the questions I should be asking this operator? And
That is brilliant, Tim. Holy cow.
yeah. So I mean, the type of use that we can have for AI these days is incredible. It's like, we can't even, like, yeah, I'm always surprised when I thought of a new way to use it. I'm like, yes, like it's so good. As capital raisers, fund managers, like we can tell ChatGPT to give us an entire year's worth of topics that we can use to educate our passive investors on. And it will educate them everything from 1031 exchange to IRA investing to due diligence to underwriting, like all of that it can give us. So yeah, it's really incredible.
Yeah, I know Anthony and especially for me. So, I come from the music world, and especially in college when you have to write like those 15-page essays or whatever, you always have that writer's block in the very beginning. You have an idea, right, of what the end goal is,
Yeah.
but ChatGPT and AI, it helps you just get the ball rolling. You're still gonna fine tune it, but the steps now to take those actions is maybe as like, for content or business decisions, you're that much closer. You still have to take action, which not a lot of people do realize. But with Chat GPT, and you used it for capital raising, and you have experience as a GP and an LP. In the last few years, fund of a fund has been a very, very sexy term. It's not for everyone, right? But for those that do grasp onto it, one, what is fund of funds, and who and what would you recommend it for?
Yeah, definitely. So, the previously as a capital raiser, it's very common that people will come in as a co-general partner, co-GP into a deal and raise capital and have an active role in the deal. But if you don't want to have an active role, like you can't go the co-GP route. Me, because I want to specialize in capital raising and building relationships, which is the part of the business I love the most, because I think it's the most scalable, it's the most leverageable part of the business. So I use the fund of funds, which is where I'm still pulling money like I would in a syndication. However, the fund goes into the deal as a limited partner, not as a general partner. And so I don't have any, as a fund manager, I don't have any active role in the deal itself. I don't have to worry about asset management, all of that, right? I still have an active role in the fund that I'm managing, but that's a different kind of role. And so, yeah, so fund of funds allows, multiple investors to come in together and invest into a deal and have the leverage of coming in for a bigger check amount, which allows you to have better economics. You can negotiate for better economics. And so basically the fund of funds it's a more popular tool these days when you're looking at whether you're coming in together as a group to invest in a deal together, or you as a fund manager specifically wants to do capital raising and invest into a deal or many deals.
I mean, fund of funds has blown up since the last couple of years. It's pretty amazing. So take us through kind of you love being investor relations, have you kind of take us through, like, have you ever had to deal with like a challenging situation where maybe the deal you're working on is probably not going as it is, as it should be? Maybe the
Yeah.
first 8 months, maybe there's some delays. And second, maybe share with us how important it is to do your due diligence on the, especially with fund of funds, is
Yeah.
due diligence on the trusted operator.
Right. Oh man, that's such a good one. A lot of people starting out, they get so excited to get into a deal. I was that way. But being in real estate for 22 years now, I've learned it's not the deal. The real work happens after you buy the deal, not before you buy the deal. So for my model, our Hill Wealth Fund buy box, we don't deal with new operators. We only work with seasoned operators who are proven. Most of the operators that we work with have well over $200 million asset under management. They have gone full cycle on a dozen of deals or so. So we know exactly what the capability of these operators. And so yeah, so that's so vetting the operator is the first most important part before you invest the deal. Vetting that operators, make sure that they are someone that you're willing to invest your mom's money with. It's a good that's kind of like the thing that I use to determine whether or not I'll invest with the operator. And then after that is the deal. And we have a deal right now. It's not, it's a challenging deal. Uh, I knew that coming in. However, my investors, doesn't know that, right? Like, so they're thinking that, hey, it's been, 7 months, we still haven't gotten distributions, blah, 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 blah. They don't know that we projected that there will not be any distribution for at least 12, possibly even 18 months. And we communicated that in the beginning, but of course, investors, they don't think that. So they're thinking, did I lose all my money? Blah, blah, like they're thinking worst case scenario. So we have to just educate them. I think, one of the big things is, being in communication, not being afraid. Like even if they come to you very strong, almost like, it's like, oh, did you scam me? This didn't happen to my LPs, but let's say if they came to you and said, did you scam me? Am I losing all of my money? They have their fear, so they're coming off stronger. And you as a fund manager just have to, understand like, hey, they're not a professional like you are. They, especially if they're first time investors, and so they have a lot of fear. So you just need to explain to them. It's like, no, this is just a very normal process. This is a major value add project. This is the kind of timeline we're expecting before there will be distributions. So we do have to calm them down, educate them. It's funny because one of the LPs, the way that he communicated really triggered one of my team members, and I have to calm down my team member. Forget about the LP. Like the first thing I had to do was calming down my team member, and then calm down the LP, and like just get on the phone with them and said, "Hey, this is how it works," And yeah, so that it's educating them and continually educating them, and answer any questions that they need, that they have, helps. Yeah.
No, those are some great points, man. I mean, so first thing is like you got to set the expectation. So you set the expectation for your investors, which you've done now. But and you kind of explain too, is like you can tell like a seasoned investor as compared to a new investor. So that's why the lines of communication is very key. Because a seasoned investor, they see the market go up and down. They don't like panic. They're just like, oh no,
Yeah.
I know I'm holding that for 5 years. So what about it? I don't have distributions yet, but okay. They know their money is where it should be. You know what I mean? Where they're investing. No,
Yep.
some great points there. Now, just to add to that, with that experience, with now you're creating funds or raising capital, do you prefer to do the 506B route or the 506C route?
Yeah, I actually prefer C, and but some deals we raise are B. The reason why here's why I prefer C is because I do so much marketing online, and having a C just makes it super easy for me, because I don't, I have a big audience, but I don't have substantive relationship with every single one of my audience. And so, yeah, I do prefer C, because even when we have 506B deals, most of our investors are credit investors anyways. The main difference obviously is that in a 506B, the investors doesn't have to verify that they are accredited. They can just say that they're accredited, versus a 506C, they actually have to go through the verification process. And I understand some investors don't like to do that. But yeah, my preference is definitely for a 506C.
I think of the marketing, because with us, we're 506B currently, but we're starting to see the light on the other side. And because we were a 506B, we got very creative, as far as education, social media, emails, and whatnot. But we're starting to see that light. So there's a good chance we'll be going in that direction soon. But take us back to the first deal that you did as a fund of fund. Why did you choose that operator? And was that the deal where you had the aha moment to leverage fund of funds?
No, I mean, so my first raise was a co-GP deal. I quickly realized, oh, you don't make much money. You don't make much money as a co-GP, especially if you're raising on your own. And that's where I got the idea of, hey, if I get a group of us together and, instead of raising 500,000, we can raise, 1 million, 2 million or more, then we have better leverage that way. But we can't have too many people on a co-GP team either. And so yeah, that's when I started to do more research and stuff. And Rise 48 was actually the very first fund of funds deal that we raised for. And so it was super easy working with them. They understand the model from working with you guys. They perfected that, so they guide us along the way. And so yeah, so I get to learn a ton about how fund of funds work through that race. Yeah.
They're a good friend of ours over there, and we're very thankful for them. And when we tell the new people that we speak with, we've literally rode the coattails of successful operators, and you learn. Even when we first invested individually, we didn't invest individually to like, hey, you know what, we're going to be fund managers a year or two down the road. We were thinking of like, okay, you know what, let's grow our wealth. Let's get some bonus depreciation. But one thing's lead to another, and working with a great operator is you're learning those lessons. You're learning how they communicate with you, so that way you can cascade it down to your investors. And what they've done is, we're very grateful for them, because they've opened the doors for many people, many of our friends that we've helped launch a fund and get into. So I definitely thank you for sharing that, Tim. And as far as what is next for Hero Wealth Fund or even Teen Millionaire Challenge, what's on the horizon in the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, so I have the biggest project I'm working on, especially with the way the market is going and making sure we take advantage of this market, is creating big network of fund managers and capital raisers. So that way, not only are we able to get better economics when we come into deals, but that we also have voting. One of the challenges with fund of funds right now, because we're an LP, we don't really have any voting rights. We don't have much say in the deal. So my goal is that we have enough fund of fund managers to put together that we can raise at least more than 50% of the equity of the deal. So we're thinking, at least 60%, where now not only, we're still in the LP position. However, we're a special class of LP, almost like kind of like a pref equity, but still common equity, where we have a say in certain things. And we, so that's my goal. My goal is, to further legitimize and make the fund of funds model even better, such that not only that we have the flexibility, the economics, but also the control that we want.
Super fascinating, Tim. You're taking the fun of a fund model and expanding it even more. And what you said about like raising 50 to 60% of the raise, that's massive. So we're talking about like raising 15 million, maybe 12 million, right? What are some of the economics that you look out for yourself and your fund managers when you're working with these operators?
Yeah, so
see.
Right. So generally speaking, we're right now anyways. Now by the time we're there, we might end up getting even more. But right now, we want to see at least 20% of the amount that we raise as our economics. So just for simplicity, let's say if we raise 1 million, that's 20% of that is 200,000, and we would take some of that on the front end. So let's say on the front end, that could be $30,000-$40,000 on the front end, and then another 160 to 170,000 in GP promote on the back end is what we're looking for.
Man, you're changing the game, Tim. Like these last two conversations that we've had, I've been learning about the ask me anything, and like your concept of now taking the fund of fund even further to cover 50 to 60% of raise. And operators are going to be gobbling at you, man, and that will lead you to have negotiating leverage. It's
Right.
huge, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time that like us, fund managers, capital raisers, like, to work together, to collaborate in a big way, because independently we don't have the leverage that we can have when we're working together. So it makes sense, and yeah, and I want to be to where our first goal is to get to 100 members as soon as possible, because and not only that, but also help each member to be able to raise at least $10 million a year. So I calculate it this way: 100 members times 10 million a year. That's $1 billion worth of capital that we have control of, that we have influence over. At that level, like anybody in the industry that need access to equity capital, we're the first group that they go to. So that's kind of the mindset behind that.
Man, I love it, dude. I mean, just there's just the stuff you're talking about right now. It's really thinking outside the box. I mean, like, you kind of evolve as a fund manager. We're like, oh, you just raise capital here, and then you start getting other fund managers. And then the fund of fund concept came about. It's pretty amazing, and I love it. That's why I love kind of entrepreneurship. You're always trying to solve a problem, right? So it's pretty crazy. And John and I talk about this all the time. We realize right away, it's like whoever is holding the money bag has
Yep.
all the leverage. Doesn't
Yep.
matter about the deal. Doesn't matter how great you can underwrite or type best asset manager in the world. If you have capital, you have a ton of leverage, and really amazing. And thank you for sharing that. I mean, you got my brain spinning right now, just the stuff you're talking about.
I do want to
Thanks.
ask one thing. Is there any pushback from operators when you mention those terms?
Yeah, so I mean, some operators don't, it's like, oh, we're not willing to pay out that much, and that's fine. I mean, if they don't need the money and they can get cheaper money elsewhere, that's fine. But we do have plenty of operators that, yeah, are willing to do it, and especially in today's market. It's getting harder and harder to raise capital, and the deals are starting to come. So you have two things, right? You have less money, more deals, and so if they want to do more deals, then they just have to be more generous with the with the economics. I think that once we get to where we are able to raise more than 50%, I think at that level, most of these operators are very willing, because they understand how much work it is to round up all of that money, right? And so if they can tap into a group and make that hands off for them, yeah, I don't expect a lot of pushback. Once we get to that level. Right now we do see some, and it's just like anything, you know, I mean, our money is not cheap, right? And so the operators have to understand that as well. And if they're willing to raise it on their own, great, more power to them. I'm okay with that.
I think a smart operator is definitely going to entertain it. So let's say the total raise is 24 million, but Hero comes in at 12. I'd rather deal with one Tim Mai who's in charge of
Exactly.
all the capital. Makes reporting so much easier. Tim's gonna cascade the K1s. It's in the communications, and we're just sending it to just one person. So I'm excited for your future, man. Like I see it. When I first met you or Anthony and I first met you in Las Vegas, I saw the energy. It was like you had like an aura around you. It was like there's something about this guy. It was like, dude, it's like he's got a crowd here, and I didn't even know that was a moment that you went all in on this, and that was the same time Anthony and we went all in on
That's
it.
awesome.
You're a superstar, man. We're like, who's getting autographs over there? Who's the guy signing autographs?
But,
Uh,
but
yeah,
man,
it's been, I mean, it's been really fun watching y'all's growth as well. I mean, you guys accomplished so much in the last couple of years. And so yeah, it's
Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely loving it. And that's the cool thing about our industry, right? We can all grow, and by collaborating and yeah, like we can all grow together. There's so much here, so much abundance here.
yeah, rather than complaining about an issue, let's get together, let's get creative, and let's see how we can overcome this. And that's the fun part. as we're winding down, Tim, we just have a few questions that we just want to ask so that way it
Yeah.
gets our listeners could get to know the not so buttoned up version of Tim Mai. You know, the first common question that you even asked us is, Tim, what is your superpower?
Yeah. So, marketing, I would say, is my superpower. And it's funny. Not only do I I use my marketing not just for raising capital for real estate deals, but I also use my marketing to raise capital for charities. I have now raised over $1 million for a different charity. We're building an entire self-sustaining village in Haiti right now that recently broke ground. We're supporting, one of our keynote speakers that's coming to our upcoming event here. He does. He's the executive producer of Sound of Freedom, which is a movie about sex trafficking.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we've raised quite a bit. We've now raised around 300,000 for his foundation, and we're gonna continue to support and raise for that. And so I love marketing. I love making a difference in the war, and so so I love using those two things together to make a difference.
I love it, man. All right, the second question is as for someone who's savvy in business and especially in the fun of fun space, I just gotta warn you, this might be the toughest question you've ever faced. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go, Tim. You're stuck on an island. There's no pirates though, so don't worry about the pirates, right? There's no pirates. You don't have a single soul on the island. There's no internet coverage. You don't have your business partners there. You don't have family. However, you are able to bring your smartphone. But because there's no data, no calls, no text, you can only load up MP3s on your phone that you can listen to over and over again until you get rescued. What is that one musical artist or one musical album that you could listen to on repeat if you're stuck on an island?
80s for sure. It has to be only one artist. I would say probably Erasure. Remember them?
Erasure? No, I haven't heard of them.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, but you remember Depeche Mode, like
Yes.
those type of band.
Yep.
Maybe I'm pronouncing them wrong. Erasure. Well, it's Erasure. But yeah, it's kind of like the same genre as Depeche Mode.
Awesome.
Awesome, man.
This is why I like asking this question, because I get to learn more about that person, but also as a DJ, it makes me do my research now on Erasure. So by the time we have social media on this, Tim, I'm gonna implement some of that music in it.
Yeah, but if it's not music, I would love me some Jim Rohn audio.
Oh.
That
Who
works
doesn't
too.
love him?
Yes.
All right, my question is gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty simple. Are you a tropical person or a mountainous area type of person?
Tropical.
Tropical?
I would love to retire in the Philippines. I love the
Oh,
tropical, yeah.
which part of the Philippines? I was just so usually when I'm from the Philippines, so when I go to the Philippines, I usually stop at another country. So we go to Malaysia, we go to we went to Vietnam. So I've done some time we went to Mui Ne in Vietnam. So which do you know which island in the Philippines?
Probably Cebu.
Oh, yeah,
That's
it's
where my
beautiful there.
parents are from. So you got to learn Visayan, Tim.
Yes.
But English also works there pretty well.
Yes. Yeah, I was there for over a month. It's been a while back now, but yeah, just vacationing, yeah.
Did you go swimming with the whale sharks and the waterfalls, chasing waterfalls? Because that's what we did.
Okay, not the sharks.
Oh, you didn't do the whale sharks? Oh,
No, it didn't do the whale sharks. No.
awesome, man. Good stuff. That's where I think I would like to retire. Somewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun there.
Tim, how can our listeners get a hold of you for investment opportunities, educational opportunities? Please provide your social media, website, emails, phone number, the whole nine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have an upcoming event coming up, and we do it once a year, so you can always check it out. It's called capitalraisingsummit.com, capitalraisingsummit.com. It's event for capital raisers, fund managers. So awesome events. Always go there. You can always find me on Facebook and or LinkedIn. So just search my name, Tim Mai. We can connect there. And yeah, and then if you want to learn more about our fund, it's herowealthfund.com. And I want to share real quick what HERO stands for. Because
Please.
yeah. So it's not about me pumping my chest saying I'm a hero. Uh, it stands for heart-centered entrepreneurs enriching others. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I love making a difference for people. And so not only do I want to make a difference through my business, I want to empower other entrepreneurs to also make a difference through their business as well.
Oh, love it, man. I was actually curious. I meant to ask you that. I just didn't have the chance. That's pretty awesome.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you more, man, in this last week. And I just, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for taking the time to hop on our podcast. And we can't wait to just explore other things with you, man. And also, and more importantly, learn from you.
Yeah.
But ask me anything, I was like, that's brilliant. 50% of the raise, that's brilliant. So we appreciate it, man. And for those listening at home, please like, share, comment the Nine Doors Down Show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, pretty much all your favorite podcast platforms. And Tim Mai, make sure you follow him. Follow him on social media. You will definitely learn a lot, in even more so outside of business. You're going to learn more with this guy. He's a great mindset. But on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in to another edition of the Nine Doors Down Show. We out.
Peace.